So I've started our recording. This is Design 350 lecture. It's Tuesday the 9th, 11 o'clock. We are on Google Meet. Please remember that Thursday is a holiday, and hopefully you will have an opportunity to pay your respects to our service members, the veterans, and current who may be serving in our forces, because that's what the holiday is about. Or you find time to just take the day off. That might be cool too. So that's coming up Thursday. This is really our main lecture for the week. We're working on the local infill project. And let's just pull up what's involved. And it's the project requirements. And I want to let you know that you're going to have a little bit more opportunity this time, hopefully, because some of this stuff is sort of the same and it's not really as hard anymore, right? You should be able to have it down and do it a little bit faster. I'd like you to spend a little bit more time doing your own conceptual work for the site layout. So I'm going to do a little bit of stuff. We're going to take that site layout and kind of put it into a Jamboard. And you guys can just write good things on it as you start thinking about them. And then you can sort of keep checking back in and looking at it to see what's going on. So it's not really necessarily a collaborative exercise, but it'll be an opportunity to. Okay. So here's where we want to go. I need to open a Jamboard. And then I need to look at my Google Maps. And what is it? It's 4632 Winding Way, something like that. There it is, right there. So this doesn't have to be necessarily to scale or anything like that, but we're gonna pull this in and sort of play with it a little bit. So there's my copy, and I'm going to paste it into a new one. And we're going to call this 4632 Winding Way Development Concepts. There we go. And I can share it. So this is something that you guys ought to become familiar with in setting it up on your own. There's lots of ways, people do it in Slack and on Discord and in SharePoint and Google Drive, and even Autodesk has their version of this. But I'm setting it up so anybody with the link can edit it. And we'll go ahead and put that in here. Oops, it's up here. I'm looking in the wrong spot. Okay, so now you can all get to this if you want. And there's a few ways that we do this, right? And so I'm going to make some duplicates of these. And on this first one, I'm gonna label this one housing. So this one will be about where we're going to put the houses and stuff like that. And you can copy from one to the other, so that's good. And what's another important part of what would be included? I've got housing, probably right of way. And that includes parking. What else might I need to kind of identify in here?
Trees or tree removal or anything
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. That's definitely one we need. So you can see we can just kind of keep going on. And I think we need utilities. We probably want to talk about drainage too. Oops. Um, might be nice to have one of community area, common area. Now, sometimes you can put this all on one, but this will work out kind of cool. So let's go back to the very beginning. And for this one, I am going to go ahead and probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to put this on to begin with. But that's the lot. I think I can copy those. I'm not sure. Maybe not. It looks like I'll have to do that over and over again. And so let's see. What do we know? We know that there's existing, there's housing, and there's housing. And then this, believe it or not, this is an accessory dwelling. It's it's a little bit bigger than that. They've made that bigger since. And oh no, hold on, never mind. I got this wrong. I don't know why that won't. Here we go. This one's the accessory. This one's the other house. Backed right up onto there. No, I got that wrong. I think this one is the accessory dwelling. It's the shed that got built. And I think there's a shed right under there. Right there. So those are some existing little buildings. So the question then is, oh, I forgot the most important one. How do you want to kind of split the lots up? That would be one way to go, right? Where you have right of way coming in here, maybe even, you know, community area right here, bank, bank, bank. But that's not too bad right there. Those are pretty good sized lots. But we were talking about maybe making some of this front area um, more of a community area. So let's go ahead and undo that and go, let's see, what if, there has to be some access here.
Do you have to also contemplate who's getting possibly a solar system, like a ground mount or something like that, on their part of their yard versus other
You
people?
you should consider that. And that's probably goes on your utilities one. Are you putting in one central microgrid? Is everybody getting their own on their own house? How's that gonna all kind of work out? And maybe that stays as a community area, right? I mean, there's so many things for you guys to do here. That becomes all community. Maybe you push that down. That was keeping that idea of saving this little area. If you don't want to save that little area, you could, do something like that. Lots of things to do if you wanted to make this kind of like a community area where there's room to drive in, circle around, and back out. Then this becomes a fairly nice little sized community area, community garden or fountain or cookout area, something like that. This could potentially move over to give even just a little bit more right there. So this is just a place where you can kind of play around a little bit. And now you can see that you might even be able to change this, right? If this could become sort of a community area, you got to think of this right of way, right? How will this person get in over here? Right? So that person can get in, this person can get in, and this person is maybe going to get in over here. Okay, and maybe you don't want a roundabout anymore, or maybe you do, but that gives you a really nice capability of making this area into something cool, or even just going like that and making this a right of way. And this doesn't have to be that wide. So there's all sorts of things for you to be able to play with here to create this lot in the image that you're interested in. Okay. So that's kind of cool, right? And then where are you going to put, maybe you decide that, this one gets a tiny house here and this one gets a tiny house here. And this one, who knows where you're going to put it? Maybe you don't even put one. Maybe you do an accessory dwelling unit on the garage, or maybe you put it over here. Okay, so lots and lots of ways for you to go. What do you think, Leah? Where would you? And you can jump on here and start showing stuff too. If you jump in here, I think we see your stuff.
Honestly, I haven't fully decided yet on what I want to do. There's so many different ideas and things for it. Like I have, I think I just need to tone down my ideas. I'm overthinking again on what all I can,
Right.
do with the.
Well, and that's where these two things kind of, this is where your Jamboard gets kind of cool. And if you want to, as an example, I could put this one in and say, and let's say you have another cool idea. You just go into here and you go duplicate that because you have a different idea. And you just erase what you don't like and you go, nah, enough of that stuff. And right, but it gives you some playing boards that you can play around with. You go, no, this is like this person needs a big lot, and to heck with that other thing. And this poor person up in the front is actually going to get a small lot, and this is going to be our community area. And to heck with it. This person gets a small house. This person gets a big house and a big lot. But there's always that, and I'm going to pave this. You go, man, I'm not doing that. I'm making this paved. Right? Which I'm doing that just to bug Eric because I'm tearing down the trees and putting up a parking lot. And landscapers probably don't like that very much. Right, Eric? It's like, what are you doing there? Yeah. And so this would be a really good community area too. So lots and lots of cool things for you guys to play with that you can work within here. You'll have plenty of time next week to really get, if you want to go ahead and get the maps done and all that kind of stuff, your similar development is so simple because it's right next door. It's like, okay, you can see the size is even almost the same, right? If you look at this size lot versus this size lot, and that can give you an idea too. You might just go, no, that's really cool. I'm going to do exactly that back to back and maybe not make the houses so big and put some tiny houses in. Kind of a shame to destroy all those trees, but your similar is so simple because it's right next door. Like, wow, right there, and just show those four. So you can obviously get your county map. I think you've already made it. It's Sacramento County. Your area map, you might have even made that already if you chose Arden Arcade. Your vicinity map, all of that you can probably nail pretty quick on how to get this in there. Okay? The only thing is you're going to need to put this in eventually. Okay, do you guys know how to do that in Revit? Have you guys done that before?
Yeah, putting in the picture and then drawing it.
No, we
Or-
want it real. We want you to put in
Oh,
the property lines as you saw them on that other thing. So there's two ways to do it. One, you can draw it in AutoCAD, import it, and click the lines. Or you can type those things in to Revit. So let's go into here. Oh, I need to get rid of that thing. Pinned. I didn't realize I left that in there. Not there now. You guys can get rid of that. So, site plan, existing, datum level. Okay, so if you go into massing and sites, you can make property lines, and I'm just going to put it in there, and I'm going to do it by entering distances. And I know that first one was like something like 419 feet south. What was it? Like 1 degree east. And then I put in another one that was something, I don't remember what it was. 75. And it was due west. So I'll go 90 west. And then I think I don't remember what it was. 375. Whoops. No, it was something close to that. I don't care. 375 north, 1 degree west. Now this is the cool one. Okay, so those were all lines and there's 0 radius and stuff. So this one, I'm just going to say it went 50 feet north, maybe 85 east, and it's not a line, it's an arc, and it said what the radius was. And then I can add my line to close. And okay, so I'm off, right? This one should have been a little bit farther up, but that's how you get it in there. Isn't that cool? So you can just type those property lines in. Now, if you want to make a topo surface, and I gave you elevations, I think I gave you elevations somewhere. If not, let me know. There you go. And then we need to get this one. I should have put this one in first. But for yours, it'll be better.
Where would the elevations be? For my older project?
Man, you know what? I think I did them in the alternate final. So I'll dig them out of the alternate final. But let me show you one more thing. See how this kind of made this funky thing here? So I need to split this surface yours won't come out that bad. There, now I've got it. So that's how you're going to get your topo. So when we're done with this, I will I'll go get those elevations for you. And so yes, you do need to get rid of the old one and put this one in. And now you've got it. Cool. All right. So, and you can do all that same good stuff that you did over here. Now, you don't really need a new pad, an existing pad. Okay, you've got your existing and you can make your new ones off of that. Okay, but you've got property lines here. So if I click on this, right, override the graphics, by element, do all that kind of stuff. Whoops, wrong one. Lighten it up. See if that did it. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And you can put your property lines in and stuff. The trick was, oh, and this one, look, see how it arced the wrong way? It arced downward, and the other one arcs upwards. So when you click on that, you can edit the table and you can make it a left. Then you can delete that. Let me make this one a little bit better. Then I can do a new close. What did I do here? I totally messed it up. Um, that made it a little bit different. So you'll get the right ones off of there. Just get that right and then put your stuff in it. Okay? And then start playing around. The goal is to play around up here on something and do a couple of cool designs that you like and play around. And you'll find, we're only taking 2 weeks on this and there's a holiday in there. So just play around. It doesn't have to be perfect, but there's 3 lots. It's split into 3 lots. There's this community area. That's cool. The association would own this. There's a tiny house here, maybe a tiny house here, and a tiny house here. Might be nice to kind of group the 3 tiny houses. It doesn't really lend itself for that too well, but you could group 2 of them for sure if you felt like it, or you might like them all well separated. There we go. Any questions on that? That's really what I wanted you guys to get to, the ability to use something that you can just chicken scratch on and think about. This one is where the existing owner lives right now. So you might want to make that one bigger. That's why I kind of thought of making it come down here a little bit, where this person backs up onto it, where they've got, but this is a nice sized property. Maybe that one's going to go there. And maybe you let this other one be another opportunity for a big one. Or maybe this person wants like a palace and look down on the little people in the tiny houses, like the servants' quarters, right? And so this one could be a big one that has an opportunity to make these 2 a little bit smaller and rent those out, keep those as the rental, and put in their own large property and just keep a small area up front for a community garden, or just say, nope, that's all my big property, but I'm going to do an easement right here where people can come and do their garden. There's lots and lots and lots of ways to play with this. Cool? Anybody else have other cool thoughts? Leah, did you have some other cool thoughts to add in?
I don't think so yet. I'll probably have more to add in tomorrow, but I do like the community area. like I said, I have a lot of ideas. I'm just trying to pick which ones um, I think would be a good fit. I was actually kind of thinking this isn't too far away to see it in person.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe like look at the property, just from the outside, kind of looking in and stuff to see what would make sense.
Yep. And you'll see there's, I mean, and by the way, there's a lot of oaks here, but prior landscape students said they were not the protected species.
Okay, so you wouldn't have to get or like a permission to tear any down.
Right, right. You would
Okay.
probably need to have an, the city arborist verify that for you,
Okay.
right? That would be one of those outside organizations that you're going to work with. The local, an approved arborist to make sure that none of the trees that are existing are protected. So another thought to think of, and Eric, you might have some input onto this, is there's often an easement along the back or along part of the property so that this person's sewage connects into this person's sewage. So there'd be like a larger sewage line and a larger water line and a fairly good electrical cable all running back here. Now, often they're put under the road too. But if they're put on the backside with an easement, if you ever have to do stuff to it, you don't have to dig up your road. And the easement would just say, the property belongs to you and you can do whatever you want, but you cannot permanently block access to whatever we've put in the ground or overhead. And since there's already power lines here, this looks to me like where you're going to want to run your utilities. If you're running utilities, it's an ideal place to put a swale or a French drain or an infiltration ditch so that, you can actually get water to slope this direction and down. And there's actually like a ditch along here. And so that's another thing to think of, right? Have you got experience, Eric, with putting utilities underneath a swale and stuff like that?
Not yet, not yet.
So interesting to think about. The other one to think about is what you want the right of way to be made out of. Is it going to be gravel, which infiltrates kind of okay? You're going to put in those permeable pavers, which don't really infiltrate. They have some space, but you pack underneath them so hard. Are you going to put asphalt down and let it run to maybe a swale that goes a little swale right along there instead of here? So you would go, okay, I'm going to get runoff over here. So maybe I want to put a swale along there and put my utilities right under that and hook my utilities this way and leave this back area clean. And that way I'll have runoff into an area that I don't mind digging up, because it's basically just a swale is a ditch with plants, and it's not too hard to replant the plants if you need to dig up in an area. So that might be. Have you done swale work before, Eric?
A little bit more in conception in regards, but not, even like you touched on it, I would say.
Okay.
But not a ton.
Well, this would be a cool place to think about it, because when you do a swale that's this long, you put little dams in because it's going to drop in elevation probably about 2 feet, maybe even 3, depending on if you put a retention pond up here. And so you don't want it to just all fill up. So you put little breaker dams in, or they make them little, right, V dams, so that they, if they're filling up a little bit, that's okay, but then it can dribble over if it has to, and as it gets more and more and more, it can dribble more. And those are kind of a neat concept also, to be able to put in some little breaks in the things. So I'd like you to put more effort into the site plan, into the new site plan this time than you did last time, and a little less effort into maybe the details and things like that, although we might get some swale details and stuff like that. Cool? Because this is a really fun one. And it's a great little property to work with, and it still has not been developed to my knowledge. I think the new owner just recently bought it and has not developed it yet. Cool, huh?
What all are you looking for us to get done for this week? I know it's a 2-week project, and I know you want us to get about half done, but what all, I know you wanted like the property lines, right? And then the topo,
Yeah.
and then,
So let's take a look at it. Again, these are easy. So this sheet should be an easy one, and you could probably whap that out, especially now that you know how to do the project data from the last one. So
and
I would suspect that you would get this done, and this would just come from your project 2 requirements, which is going to feed your intent sheet, right?
okay, so then, as far as the map, so we would do a Sacramento map?
Yeah, this would change. You would just change that to be Sacramento County, Arden Arcade, or Winding Way, or it's really Arden Arcade, and then maybe just that kind of, a little bit more than that street view. Okay,
Okay.
so you would Sacramento, Arden Arcade, a couple of blocks around this, maybe over to Auburn Boulevard, College Oaks, something like that. General notes, that you don't have to worry about. Proposed use case, I think you can get that one pretty quick also. Okay, the similar project is right next door, so you can get that one. So you could get a bunch of that very quickly too. Compliance statement, you can kind of skip. It's almost done anyway. So that would leave you doing an existing site plan. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheets, plus your proposed existing topo and drainage, because it's very quick, and proposed site plan. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's half of your work. Okay, so if you can get a bunch of that. Now, the idea is in your proposed site plan, you might be changing it a lot as you go. Okay, so this would be sort of like your first estimate at a proposed site plan. And then after you've had a chance to think of it for a while, you might change it early next week and start doing these ones. This time, we're going to focus more on the water plan, the power plan, and the mechanical plan instead of the detail sheets. So again, you'll probably get most of it done. And then, just look it through. most importantly, I want you to get some sort of a proposed site plan in. Something that shows 3 lots, a right of way, and kind of where your residences will go. Some first idea. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, it does.
And I think these are going to be quick, essentially not much to do, very quick. I think all of that might take you 2 hours, maybe 3, which leaves you 3 or 4 or 5 to play around with your proposed site plan.
And where do we find the information to be able to get our property lines again?
That's on your Stack County Parcel Viewer.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wasn't sure if we had to look it up in the like in our project requirements or.
No, you can go right there. There it is, right there. And you can nail it. Oh yeah, I see. It was 428 down and 419 up. And then there's that. And I'll post the elevations. I'll just post. Let me just do it right now. Wrong one. And let me think. How am I going to post those elevations? I'm going to post them right in here. Okay. Here we go. So this one is 8.75.
I'm trying to remember in Revit how to put in the topography. I think you already had it there in the last one. I'm trying to remember how you type in the elevation.
Okay, I'll show you how to do that again. This one's your project 0. So there we are, and I'll take a snip of that. There we go. So I'll make a little announcement about that, but everybody's got it. Okay, so let's go back into here and figure out how to do that again.
So those are the only elevations are at the corners. We don't have to do any other elevations throughout the property?
Correct, because Revit's going to put them in for you.
Okay.
Okay. So let me adjust that. That looks a little closer to what it is. So here's how you do it. Here's how we make it. we go to this massing and site button right there and click the topo surface, and we're going to place points. So on this back side, I think I said it was 3.75, and you just click. And then you
That's easy.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's so wonderful.
I've never used Revit before this semester, but I will say it's got some good stuff in it.
There you go. Now you've got a topo surface.
Awesome.
Isn't that? I just think it's so cool, right? And what I love is, it it tells you your elevation everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wasn't sure because the last one I know had some flat spots, but I know it was also an existing residence and
Right.
things like that. So
Yeah. Now you can put in your existing residence on here. You can just make a little region. Right? And maybe there's another one over here that's so that's how you can put the existing houses in, which is nice. Or if you want to, you can go to massing and sites. You can actually put a building pad there. And you can say, I don't know, maybe it's at 2.5 feet, and you can just pick lines. So that would be one building pad and massing it. So you don't have to do this. Just those little regions are just fine. But if you want little building pads, you'll see that it actually put little building pads there. Cool.
are there any specifications to how big the tiny homes should be? And then there should at least be one on each lot, right?
Yeah. So it says, and now it doesn't have to be a tiny home either. It can be, a fixed floor on a building pad or a concrete pad, a foundation on pier blocks. So we're calling it an accessory dwelling of approximately 200 square feet. That's pretty small. That is really, really small. These are not like, you're gonna, most places that want to really like rent out for an Airbnb and stuff are doing 350 to 450 or 500. So these are small. But they should be, if you think it costs, $100 a square foot to build something, well, you're at $20,000. That's not bad, right? You can get that money back in 5 years at a very low price. So that's why I picked the very small 200 square feet. And I think it preserves the feel of this as being sort of secluded. This one doesn't. This is, they went for the big 4 honking homes that they could just sell and make a pile of money, which, you know, power to them. It was their property, and they probably really enjoyed that honking pile of money. This is more considering a sustainable, fair housing. How can we do it and still get some money out of it? Type thing. Cool.
Sounds good.
Other good questions? Alrighty-o then. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and stop the